Poor single dad helps a stranded woman. Then learns she's the judge who could take his daughter. The October rain fell steady that evening as Michael Bennett drove home from his second shift. Through the downpour, his headlights caught a figure beside a stalled car on Old Mill Road, a woman in professional clothes, soaked through, trying to wave down help. Michael's paycheck was already stretched thin. He was late getting home to his daughter. But some things, his father had always said, matter more than convenience. He pulled over. "Evening, ma'am. Looks like you could use some help." The woman turned, exhaustion and relief mixing on her face. "My car just died. Phone's not getting service out here. I've been standing here almost an hour. Let's take a look." Michael grabbed his toolbox and popped her hood. After a few minutes checking connections, he found the problem, a loose battery cable. Simple fix. While he worked, they talked. Her name was Helen Richardson. She was a family court judge, she told him, heading home from a difficult day of hearings. "The hardest part of my job," she said quietly, "is making decisions about children. You always wonder if you're doing right by them." Michael understood that worry. He told her about his daughter, Emma, 10 years old, and his whole world since his wife passed 4 years ago. He worked mornings at the warehouse and nights cleaning offices. Money was always tight, but Emma never doubted she was loved. "She's lucky to have you," Helen said, watching him work with capable hands. Michael smiled. "I'm the lucky one. Being her dad is the best thing I've ever done." 20 minutes later, her car was running again. Helen reached for her purse, but Michael waved her off. "No need for that. Just help someone else when you get the chance." She looked at him for a long moment. "I will, I promise you that." 3 weeks later, Michael sat in a courthouse he'd hoped never to see from the inside. His former sister-in-law, Jennifer, sat across the aisle with an attorney who looked like he cost more per hour than Michael made in a week. Jennifer wanted custody of Emma. She'd remarried a successful businessman. They had a 4-bedroom house, a pool, everything Michael couldn't provide. Michael had a studio apartment where Emma slept on a pull-out couch, a 15-year-old car, and 2 jobs that left him running on fumes most days, but he had Emma's trust, her laughter, her love. He hoped it would be enough. All rise for the Honorable Helen Richardson. Michael's breath stopped as the judge walked in. It was her, the woman from Old Mill Road. Their eyes met. He saw surprise flicker across her face, then recognition, then something he couldn't read. She sat down, her expression becoming carefully neutral. Jennifer's lawyer was smooth and sympathetic. He painted a picture of a well-meaning father who simply couldn't provide adequate care. The long work hours, the cramped living space, the financial strain.
"Your Honor, Mr. Bennett loves his daughter deeply."
No one questions that, but love cannot replace stability, proper supervision, and opportunity. Each word felt like confirmation of every fear Michael carried in his chest at 3 in the morning. When it was his turn, Michael stood slowly. Public speaking had never been his strength, but this was for Emma. "Your Honor, I won't pretend my situation is ideal. I work 60 hours a week to keep us afloat. We live in a studio apartment. Emma doesn't have her own room. We shop at thrift stores and clip coupons, and sometimes at the end of the month, dinner is whatever I can make from what's left in the pantry." He paused, his voice steady but soft. "But Emma has something no amount of money can buy. She has a parent who shows up. Every morning I make her breakfast. Every afternoon I'm there when she gets off the bus. Every night we do homework together, even when I'm so tired I can barely keep my eyes open." He looked at Emma, sitting with the court advocate, wearing the jacket her mother had bought her years ago. Now too small, but still her favorite. "When Emma's mother died, I made her a promise. I promised I'd be there, not just physically, but really there. Present. That I'd choose her, every single day, no matter what." His voice wavered slightly. "I've kept that promise, and if you let me, I'll keep it for the rest of my life." The courtroom was silent except for the distant sound of rain against the windows. Judge Richardson read through the documents before her, her face thoughtful. Finally, she looked up. "Mr. Bennett, would you and Emma please approach?" Michael's legs felt unsteady as they walked forward together, Emma's hand in his. Judge Richardson looked at Emma with kind eyes. Emma, you understand what's happening today? Yes, ma'am, Emma said quietly. Aunt Jennifer wants me to live with her. What do you want? Emma didn't hesitate. I want to stay with my dad. We're a team. Judge Richardson nodded slowly. She was quiet for a moment. And when she spoke, her voice carried a gentle weight. Mr. Bennett, 3 weeks ago, my car broke down on a dark road. I was stranded, worried, and afraid I'd fail people who were depending on me. A man stopped to help. He was clearly tired, clearly on his way somewhere. But he stopped anyway. Michael felt his throat tighten. That man fixed my car and refused payment. He just said, help someone else when you get the chance. It was a small thing to him, perhaps. But it wasn't small to me. In that moment, he showed me something I'd been in danger of forgetting. That character isn't about resources. It's about choices. About who we are when no one's keeping score. She straightened in her chair. This court finds that while Mrs. Jennifer Crawford may offer superior material advantages, Emma Bennett has something far more precious. A devoted father who has demonstrated unwavering commitment, presence, and sacrifice. Custody remains with Mr. Michael Bennett. The gavel came down softly. Emma threw her arms around Michael as tears rolled down his cheeks. Outside, the rain had cleared to reveal a crisp autumn evening. Helen Richardson found them by Michael's car. Mr. Bennett, she said, I want to be clear. My decision was based entirely on what's best for Emma and the evidence before me. But I also want to thank you. Thank me? Michael's voice was still thick with emotion. That night on Old Mill Road, you reminded me why I do this work. To see people as they truly are. Not circumstances on paper, but hearts and character. She smiled gently. You showed me yours that rainy night. I hope I honored it today. Michael shook her hand, unable to find words big enough for what he felt. You already did, Helen said, when you stopped for a stranger. As they drove away, Emma chattering about getting burgers to celebrate, Michael thought about how strangely life works. How one moment of simple kindness can travel forward in ways we never imagine, returning to us when we need it most. That night, after Emma fell asleep, Michael stood watching her breathe softly in the dim light. He thought about his late wife, about Judge Richardson, about all the small choices that add up to a life worth living. Sometimes all we can do is show up and be kind. Sometimes that's everything. And sometimes the goodness we put into the world finds its way back to us, gentle and unexpected, like grace falling soft as rain.